welcome to Glasscast, a podcast of the National Glass Association and Glass Magazine. Once again, I am Katie Devlin. I'm here with my fantastic co-host, Sarah Neiswanger. And in today's podcast, we are going to be talking with Josh Rudd of A&W Software. Josh has been in the glass and glazing industry for a couple of decades now. He actually started out at EFCO before moving into the building envelope software space, the building material software space. So today we'll be talking about AI and glass fabrication, customer needs during technology integration, the future of glass fabrication, including the smart glass factory and more. And this episode is part of a series on glass fabrication, all in advance of NGA's brand new event for the glass fabricator, GFAB. Will be coming to Chicago June 14th through the 17th, and registration is now open. So head over to glass.org/GFAB for more information and make sure you don't miss out on this inaugural event. So, Josh, let's get started. Can you
Sure.
introduce yourself for our audience? Tell us a little bit about
Yeah.
your career in glass.
Yeah. My name is Josh Rudd. I'm sales and marketing manager for North America, for A&W North America, that is. And yeah, I got into the window business and glass business, I guess, in 2007, with several years at EFCO in Monett, Missouri, and later moved on to building envelope software technologies. And I was general manager of Orgadata in Denver for North America before going from windows to framing and then to glass about 6 years ago, where I've been since with A&W Software.
Well, that's a nice path, Josh. So talking
Yeah,
about
making the rounds.
yes, yeah. So AI, talking about AI for today a little
Yeah,
bit. It's
yeah.
one of those terms that gets applied to a lot of things right now. Sometimes correctly, sometimes, maybe not. So for a glass fabricator who's a little skeptical about the hype, how would you describe what AI can actually mean in the context of running a fabrication business?
Yeah, well, AI is certainly the top topic around. We see it on the news. We're inundated with it basically everywhere. And yeah, sometimes it's meaningful, sometimes it's not so meaningful, sometimes it's doomsday. But I think that it's very clear that AI is already making its way into businesses, into our business, into everybody's businesses, and that's something that's going to just continue. With regards to the glass fabrication industry and really a lot of other just manufacturing businesses in general, I think you'd look at AI as a tool, something that's going to enhance your already lean office practices, your lean manufacturing principles, and a lot of the things that you already have currently in place, but becoming a little more efficient and really pushing more productivity, and of course the bottom line, a little more profitability. And as it is now, software is already a tool that helps with this. Obviously, we help with this. Equipment is already involved with this as well in creating these efficiencies, different plant layouts and the actual personnel footsteps, for your office and your shop. That's something that's already creating this productivity. And now we have AI, which is a brand new tool to really help enhance all of that.
Mhm.
And while it is new, it actually obviously has been around for years and years. It's just now become kind of in the mainstream. And again, I think the big implication here is really to provide that additional throughput, less errors, more overall business production with the good people that you already have in your business and the good people you already trust in your business.
Mhm. Yeah, great point. So one area I think you have mentioned where A&W is already kind of deploying AI as an order entry. To your point, one that's kind of a time-consuming, error-prone
Yeah.
element of administrative tasks, so to speak. So how would you say an AI-powered order entry system might change what you would typically do manually?
Well, again, it's about saving footsteps and being efficient and reducing errors. So we are in the process of launching Mira, which is our AI order entry agent, and it's excellent. It's a really cool tool. So there are a lot of ways a couple different ways that you can get started, but really most orders are typically coming in via email with a description in the email of maybe a simple light or some sort of purchase order attached, something like that. So the way that it works is it can be configured for customers to send those email orders to the AI sales address or whatever address it's pointed to, or orders could come into the central CS office and then be forwarded to that particular AI email address, sales email address, whatever you want to call it, depending on the configuration. So what Mira does is it will read that inbound email, the text within the email, the attachments as well, and it'll first use a layer of AI to turn everything into an OCR, basically optical character recognition. So again, you have different fonts and a lot of different things. You got to standardize, what the AI is going to be looking at. And again, right now we use one particular model for this OCR. But the way that we wrote Mira is to be able to have interchange different AI models based on which one gets better at doing this and all of that. So, while we may use one or two different AIs right now, that doesn't stop us from using any other AIs in the future when they come out to, plug into those particular pieces.
Hmm.
So once it goes into the OCR and everything is recognized, from there, there's a separate layer of AI that basically takes that standardized copy, if you will, and then maps it to the appropriate, makes the assumptions, and maps it to the appropriate categories within one of our front ends, whether that is AW Business or the front end of AW Business Pro, or for our folks over in Europe that are using AW Enterprise, it'll map it to those particular locations. So at that point, the order will end up really populating as if a human had entered it, and then you go on with your credit checks and your scheduling and everything else that's involved in that particular order. So all of that actually sits up in the cloud, though. So all our systems sit on a server. It could be a cloud server, but with Mira, Mira is residing in A plus W cloud, and that's where the essentially the email address is sent. That's where it is. That's where all of the analysis being done. Again, that cloud configured for each specific customer. And again, the CS folks or whoever's running it on behalf of the company, they do have full access into the Mira engine because there are going to be things that get flagged. Something doesn't quite match right, or maybe there's some question or concern or about, what it's actually reading. And so the users of this will be able to see that and be able to train it as well.
So one thing that we talk a lot about with AI is how you really have to input your own information, your language, right, into the
Mhm.
AI for it to functionally work for you. So how does a system like this, how do you train it so that it actually speaks the customer's language and it can work for them and it really does feel like it's a component of that specific company?
Yeah, I think a real good example of that is like quarter inch clear, right? So within a given customer's ERP installation, they may call clear 1/4 clear annealed or something more like a full description. But yet when a customer is just typing in an email, they may do 0.25 CLR, or
Mhm.
maybe they're referencing even their own internal part number for quarter clear or whatever it is. So the first time, like from a particular customer that would go into the Mira engine, it would be flagged because there is something that isn't quite coordinating. So we do provide the CS user with a confidence factor of what we're pretty sure it's going to map to. But that gets flagged. The CS person would go in and say, nope, yeah, from this customer, quarter clear, 0.25-inch CLR is always going to mean R clear, or whether it's a mapping of a number. And so as you do more and more of those for the future, all of the exact vernacular and the numbers and everything that a customer is typically used to providing via their purchase order or just typing in would then be mapped. So over time, really most orders coming in that manner, wouldn't be flagged. They would essentially just pop right into the front end of one of our ERP systems.
Yeah, sort of that training
Yeah.
of the AI. Yeah. So, obviously we're talking about AI. It's everywhere. Also for manufacturing, we are hearing and we have been the term smart factory for a really long time. Uh,
Yeah.
so when we're looking at the production side, yeah, what is the smart factory and how is A&W sort of fitting into this smart factory future?
Yeah. So again, with AI, you're still going to have a lot of standard software that would be algorithmic, basically just standard programming within different definitions and walls and everything else. Despite I think what you see on the news, especially this week, even, AI isn't going to take over absolutely every factor there. There's still very much a room for regular software. And within those bounds, years ago, several years ago, not several years ago, about 6 years ago, we began with our smart factory project. And we have several smart factories now going in Europe, and very soon we will have our first smart factory going into North America. And while it's based in traditional programming, we are using elements of AI to enhance, and there's some opportunities there as well in the future to get more detail, specifically within like things like capacity planning. But essentially, what Smart Factory is, it's full tie-in from the software to everything that's happening on the floor. So a tighter integration with all of the machines and very accurate tack times and queue times and all of the different timings that are required for glass to go through the particular factory. Well, we know that our customers will demand IG in a particular sequence and other things like that, or particular crating, whatever, what have you. And so what we're able to do is when an order comes in, we know what that delivery date's going to be based on what CS and the customer decided. And we also know all of the tack times and everything else. And so what Smart Factory is able to do is to be a true pull system where there isn't a need for a scheduling and planner because we have a giant pool of orders with all of the details. We know the delivery dates, we know the tack times, and so we are the ones directing, or we, as in the Smart Factory, is directing the cutter to go to the gantry to pull this particular sheet of glass to cutting, so that way everything ends up being done just in time for that final delivery date. Now, what really makes this a true pull system isn't just kind of that theory of being able to kind of pull with those, but to be able to dodge and weave with how things change on the shop floor, with machines going down and or certain orders becoming a priority. Whatever that is. With our smart factory system, when there is a particular change in that order, we're able to stop what we're doing there. The system is able to stop what it's doing and then go to be able to pull the next glass in line in order to complete a particular in a particular order.
Very nice. So I think we've talked a little bit about how AI is showing up in the products that you're building, but you also use AI internally, whether that's for coding or research or testing. Tell us a little bit what that entails, and where humans maybe still need to be in the loop.
Yeah, so this again is something you see in the news with programmers getting laid off or whatever. For us, we need programmers. We need more programmers. But tools like AI has and is really helping us be more efficient in a lot of our coding tasks. So if you have some particular task or exercise that used to require 8 hours of programming time, and you can do that same thing now in 2 hours of programming time, then that is a big, big pickup. So again, we want more programming resources. There's so many more issues to solve and things to improve out there that these are the tools that really, really help us out. In addition, you mentioned one of those as well. Being able to do testing is another one where AI is very, very helpful in speeding up that particular process. Different situational analysis. And again, AI is making its way into some products as well. So when you talk about Smart Factory, while we have a strong capacity planning system in there, in the near future, we'd be looking at AI-enabled capacity, which could potentially be dynamic. And so that capacity, as your business gets more efficient in certain areas, that capacity could automatically be adjusted. So again, we're trying to be very forward thinking about how we approach AI, and it's something that certainly the entire organization, not just within A&W, but Constellation Software, the full company, something we're really embracing in order to improve efficiency and for us provide the best product that we can to our customers.
Mhm. And so, speaking of future developments a bit, we heard there might be the potential of a humanoid robot in fabrication environments that you might be watching closely.
Yeah. Well,
Not
and this
not giving away more than you can share,
No,
but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, and at this point, honestly, this is just talking, and this is just theoretical, but it's something that we do talk about a lot internally. You go online and you see these robots that are, folding laundry or serving drinks or doing synchronized break dancing and all of the other stuff that we see right now. It really isn't, even though these humanoid robots aren't quite out in commercial quantities yet or mass production. Obviously that's a direction that robotics is going in, and so really you can see a shop floor environment where potentially you have these humanoid type robots that are acting as manipulators or robots or loaders. And, in that kind of event, for us, we're steering sorters and integrating with pretty much every machine manufacturer out there. Certainly, at Smart Factory, we'd be able to integrate with that particular robot for, a smooth transition from maybe one station to another station. So I think that's out there. We're still a little bit of ways away, but certainly something that we're looking at. And obviously, for A&W, we're always going to work to be on the cutting edge of where the industry is going. And if that's something that's coming for all manufacturing, then you know what, we're going to embrace it.
So I think what we're saying is for all of our listeners at MIT and the folks working in robotics right now at the forefront, we would like to see one of those robotic competitions that they do with glass challenges. Let's see what they can do with their suction lifters, and then and then we can see what's next.
Yeah, I mean, we're a ways away, but again, the future's bright and the future is coming
Mhm.
at us pretty quick. So,
Yeah, so just looking ahead a little bit more near future
yeah.
than our humanoid robots, but we've got GFAB coming up in just a couple months. You'll be there. What's your message to fabricators? Why do they need to be at GFAB?
It's first of all, it's a great collection of industry folks. A lot of large fabricators there and small fabricators there. It is really set up as well as my first time that I went a few years ago, set up really well as a good networking event. So you're able to talk with the folks on the other side of the country that are doing similar things to you as you, maybe running into some of the same issues. Obviously, you have the couple days of excellent content that you guys put together, to help folks' business grow. But really, the networking is fantastic at these particular events.
Well, and we are going to be taking a Chicago architectural boat tour, so
Yep,
we're making
absolutely.
making the most of our location. Well, thank you so much, Josh, for being on Glasscast. It's great to see you. Again,
Absolutely.
I'm Katie Devlin here with Sarah Neiswanger, and thanks, Josh. We'll see you
All
next
right.
time.
Yep. Thank you very much. Bye.